Hi Sovolers, summer is here and between camps I wanted to address the PETG concerns regarding the Sovol SVO8 and share my long-promised start print macros for printing high-temp filaments on the SVO8. This is Gergo and you're watching Gergo Print 3D, the YouTube channel about my 3D printing experiences and various DIY projects. Thanks to the awesome team at Sovol, I have the full range of their latest printers, the SVO6 Plus, the SVO7 Plus, the T300, and the newest SVO8 with its enclosure. If you are a fellow user or plan on getting one of these, many of my videos will be helpful, so be sure to look around. I've provided high quality subtitles, so turn them on and feel free to use YouTube's speed controls if you need to speed me up or slow me down. Now, about the topic at hand. Recently, there have been reports of breaking nozzles on the SVO8. While these seem to be isolated incidents, it's understandable to be concerned, especially if you're still waiting for your SVO8 to be delivered. As far as I can recollect, the first reports of nozzle issues appeared in early mid-June. From these reports, it seems, due to the pressure conditions inside the nozzle, the two parts of the press-fit SVO8 nozzles came apart, separated, causing the nozzle to protrude more and eventually fall out. If this happened near the build plate in the beginning of a print, this protruding nozzle could scratch it up and ruin the PEI coating. The issue, understandably, gained much attention from a YouTube video showing the nozzle being pushed out. This user created several videos about the problem, but it remains the only case I found on YouTube. There were a few mentions of similar issues in the Sovol SVO8 Facebook group, notably from Andrew Hagel, Sean Kelly, Brandon Creech, Levi Kovac, and Jay Sun. According to Brandon's post, Sovol responded quickly, committing to replace the damaged nozzles and beds. Sovol quickly issued a public statement. We have received feedback on the SVO8 nozzle PETG issue lately. The problem is not related to the design, but to our nozzle supplier's quality manufacturing and control. So it seems they don't plan to update the design in any way. For customers who have already encountered problems, we will reissue the nozzle for free. If the build plate gets scratched, we will also reissue the build plate for free. So, yet another reason to wait patiently for your pre-ordered SVO8. You might get a better tested, possibly updated printer if you get it a bit later rather than sooner. The common factor seems to be printing PETG. It's speculated that the higher viscosity of PETG causes some defective nozzles to separate. Some users went as far as not recommending printing PETG on the SVO8 until the new batch of nozzles become available. However, many users still report successful PETG prints, and Darren Wynn's poll confirmed that most SVO8 units are free from this defect. PETG being my favorite material to print on all my printers, I've printed a lot of it on my SVO8 too, including some more race car parts recently, a relatively large print, this time out of PETG, the top hat of the enclosure, and various other projects. The Comgo T300, from the same company, they have merged, was the first printer to use this new nozzle. I've had it since early this year and have printed PETG parts including the bottom cover, articulated toys, and a spool holder mod I've designed to reduce friction for cardboard spools. all from PETG. The spool holder mod in particular greatly profits from being made of PETG. I plan to post a video on this and another spool holder upgrade for Sovol printers. Subscribe to my channel to be notified of these. So here are my presets in Orca Slicer for printing PETG on both of my printers with this nozzle. I think the key is the filament settings. I print PETG at 235 Celsius with the first layer at 240. I see others print PETG at higher temps, so this could be a contributing factor. Another crucial setting is the max volumetric speed. We just can't print PETG at the same volumetric speed as PLA. And it also needs to be tuned for each brand of PETG. For Jambird and GST 3D PETG, 15 mm cube per second is optimal, about 30% lower than PLA. I explain how to measure your specific filament in this video about Orca Slicer's calibration tools. In fact, I will link you to this video at the end. I don't think, however, that the issue is related to the higher nozzle temperature. Since getting the enclosure, I've printed ABS as well, which requires significantly higher nozzle temps over 270, 280 C, and yet I haven't experienced any trouble with that either. I found an unrelated problem, however, with the stock Sovol presets for higher temperature filaments. These require higher bed temperatures, 75 degrees Celsius for PETG and 95 Celsius for ABS. This is a software issue. I noticed the stock start print macro still did QGL and adaptive mesh at the default 65 degrees, which doesn't make sense since print beds work differently at different temperatures. Preprint calibration procedures should always be carried out at the actual print temperatures. To fix this, we just need to change a few lines in macro CFG, adding the condition if printer.heater_bed.target is less than 10, so it's not being heated, else printer.heater_bed.target vertical bar int. And add this condition to the macros in quad gantry level, probe calibrate, bed mesh calibrate, and start print. Here you can see I'm inserting this condition to the line setting the bed temperature. I've recommended something similar for the T300 before. While we are at it, we can also correct the bug Åke Waldeborn pointed out in line 510 of macro CFG, where Sovol accidentally mixed up the extruder and bed temperature commands. So the fix is simply to change M140 to M104 and M190 to M109. For the updated bed heating macros to work correctly, we will also need to make a slight adjustment to the start G-code in Orca Slicer. Here you can see the original and the changes side by side. You'll need to move the M140 command to the beginning of the code before the macro call. The original command can be commented out below. And optionally, add an M104 command to prime the extruder just below oozing temperature. This can speed up preprint preparations by a few seconds. For perfect first layers, I recommend heat soaking at or slightly higher than your print bed temperature for a few minutes before your print, using my handy macro from previous videos. In summary, I don't see any reason not to print PETG with the SV08. The issue seems to affect only a very few members of our user community who understandably posted excessively about it. So there is a lot of discussion, but be aware of negativity bias. It's more likely for someone with a problem to post about it, while others having a great experience don't. If the problem affects your printer, it's best to address it quickly, in my opinion. Sovo seems to be committed to resolving these cases promptly. I recommend carrying out my modifications in Macro CFG, however, and always calibrating your filaments, including PETG. I'm involved in various children's summer camps this time of year, but I'm thrilled to share my upcoming 3D printing adventures with you. I'm finishing the Stealth Press video featuring ABS printing on the SVO8 and plan to post another video on my spool holder upgrades. And exciting long-term plans include getting familiar with another budget 3D printing brand with the Qidi Q1 Pro and see how it stacks up against our Sovos. Subscribe to not miss these updates. Don't forget to watch this filament calibration video next, or this one if you've seen the other one. And I hope this helped you go print 3D. Thank you for watching yet another Gergo Print 3D video all the way to the end. You are awesome.